Have you ever wondered what happens at the exact moment we cross the boundary between life and death? What if I told you that there is an ancient manual written to guide us on this unknown path? The Bardo Thodol, known as the Tibetan Book of the Dead, unveils the mysteries of the beyond, describing in detail what we face in our final moments and after our last breath. This is not just a book, it is a guide to freeing the soul and escaping the eternal cycle of birth and rebirth. Get ready to uncover truths that science and religion still hesitate to accept. What would you do if you could prepare to face death with clarity, courage, and awareness? The Bardo Thodol invites us to dive into the unknown, offering an eerily accurate vision of the transitions between life, death, and rebirth. Are we truly ready to face the terrifying and luminous visions described in this text? Or will we be just another lost soul in the vast ocean of oblivion? In this video, we will explore the hidden secrets of this mysterious manuscript and what it can teach us about life and beyond. Before we begin, it is important to understand the origins and history of this book, which holds such significance in human history. The Bardo Thodol, or Liberation Through Hearing in the Intermediate State, is a sacred text of Tibetan Buddhism, attributed to the master Padmasambhava, the great figure responsible for bringing Buddhism to Tibet in the 8th century. It was written to prepare souls to face death and the stages that follow, offering clear instructions for attaining enlightenment or a higher rebirth. For centuries, the manuscript was passed down orally and preserved as an essential part of Tibetan esoteric teachings. Discovered by Tertons, spiritual treasure revealers, in the 14th century, the text is traditionally read beside the body of the deceased, guiding the soul through the perilous and challenging intermediate state between lives. More than just a guide for the dead, it carries profound lessons for the living about impermanence, consciousness, and liberation. Fundamental concepts of the Bardo Thodol. The Bardo Thodol is not just any book, it is a true map of the soul, revealing both the darkest and most enlightened secrets of what happens at the moment of death and beyond. Its premise is both frightening and fascinating. Between life and rebirth, we all pass through intermediate states known as bardos. These stages act like dimensional portals, where we confront manifestations of our own mind. Dazzling lights and benevolent deities appear to guide us, but we are also confronted with terrifying demons and nightmares that test our courage. The secret? It is all an illusion created by ourselves, and only those who recognize this truth can escape the cycle of eternal suffering. The book describes 3 main bardos that determine the soul's destiny. The Chikai Bardo marks the moment of death, when consciousness begins to separate from the body, and the entire universe seems to dissolve into a mysterious and dazzling void. In the Chonyid Bardo, the real battle begins. Brilliant lights represent enlightenment, while terrifying forms attempt to deceive us and drag us into lower realms. Here, the ego is tested to its limits. Finally, in the Sidpa Bardo, choices come to an end, and the soul is drawn into a new life, like a moth hypnotized by a flame. Will it be a peaceful rebirth, or yet another cycle of suffering? The most unsettling part? The Bardo Thodol warns that if we are not prepared, these visions will not only consume us, but also determine our next fate. It is like being trapped in a nightmare from which you cannot wake up. But for those who master the art of understanding illusion, there is an escape, enlightenment. This is the key to breaking free from samsara, the cycle of birth and death. What the Bardo Thodol teaches us, in brutally honest terms, is that death is not the end. It is a test that you can only pass if you are ready to face the hardest truth of all, the nature of your own mind. The process of death. According to the Bardo Thodol, imagine that death is not the end, but the beginning of a terrifying and revealing journey. According to the Bardo Thodol, the moment of the last breath is only the first step in traversing a sequence of experiences beyond human comprehension. First, the Chikai Bardo pulls us away from the physical world, plunging consciousness into an abyss where all perceptions dissolve. This is where we face the primordial light, an energy so intense that only the most prepared can recognize it as the true essence of the universe. Those who fail at this moment, blinded by ignorance and fear, are thrown into more turbulent states where illusions begin to take over. The worst is yet to come. In the Chonyid Bardo, souls are confronted with terrifying visions and voices echoing like thunder, revealing fears and guilt accumulated over a lifetime. The book warns, all of this is nothing more than projections of the mind, but for the unprepared, they seem as real as the touch of fire. When the Sidpa Bardo arrives, fate is sealed. The soul is drawn by irresistible forces that determine its rebirth, like a prisoner being dragged to a cosmic trial. Here, the Bardo Thodol makes a powerful but frightening promise. Those who recognize the illusion can escape the cycle, but for those who succumb, the return to suffering is inevitable. Are you ready to face this journey? Rituals and associated practices. At the heart of Tibetan traditions, the Bardo Thodol is not just a text, but a sacred tool used at critical moments in life and death. When someone dies, the book is read beside the body for 49 days, guiding the soul through the bardos and helping it recognize the visions and illusions it will encounter. This ritual is not only for the deceased, but also for the living, who witness a profound spiritual process, learning about life's transience and the power of the mind. Experienced lamas, regarded as true spiritual guides, are responsible for leading this journey, reciting the passages with precision and energy. These rituals, enveloped in incense and mantras, are more than ceremonies. They are desperate attempts to free the soul from the cycle of suffering, ensuring a higher rebirth, or ideally, enlightenment. However, the Bardo Thodol also suggests that preparation for death should begin in life. Meditation practices, visualization, and the cultivation of compassion are essential so that, at the crucial moment, we can recognize the primordial light and escape the traps of the ego. For Tibetans, there is no moment more important than death, and they dedicate themselves to facing it with the same intensity as they live. Modern interpretations. In modern times, the Bardo Thodol has transcended its original function and gained an unexpected place in Western psychology and philosophy. Psychologists like Carl Jung saw it as a powerful map of the unconscious, interpreting the bardos as universal archetypes that we all face, not only in death, but also in life's transitions. The idea of confronting mental projections and achieving liberation resonated deeply with studies on dreams and the human psyche, leading the book to be studied as a metaphorical guide for dealing with trauma and transformation. Life lessons. The Bardo Thodol is not just a guide to death, it is an urgent call to live consciously. The book teaches that preparation for the bardos begins now, with practices that cultivate mental clarity, compassion, and detachment. By understanding that everything is impermanent, we learn to cherish each moment as unique, without being trapped in the past or fearing the future. The journey through the bardos mirrors life itself. We face challenges, illusions, and constant choices that shape our reality. If we are prepared to recognize the truth behind these experiences, both in life and in death, we will attain a peace that transcends suffering. Furthermore, the Bardo Thodol teaches us the transformative power of self-knowledge. By confronting the mind's projections and acknowledging our responsibility for them, we become more aware of how we create our reality. This lesson serves as a profound reminder that by cultivating positive thoughts and actions aligned with compassion, we can change not only our destiny, but also the impact we leave on the world. The book challenges us to live with purpose, seeing each choice as an opportunity to awaken and evolve. Conclusion. The Bardo Thodol is more than a book about death. It is a spiritual masterpiece that challenges us to face the mysteries of existence with courage and awareness. It invites us to look beyond fear and illusion, offering invaluable lessons on how to live, die, and be reborn fully. After all, what is at stake is not just what happens after the last breath, but how we choose to navigate the bardos of life right now. So, are you ready to explore the secrets of your own mind and walk the path to enlightenment?